Hello people of VC, I'm back again. Yep, 2 videos in one night and another contest entry. This time for George, the Elvis vinyl guy. So George has 100 subs competition. Congratulations on reaching that milestone. It's always a biggie. When people first join the VC, I know that I was delighted when I got my first 100 as well. I think you can't believe when it happens, but it usually does because you've got a great channel. And obviously George, given his name, the Elvis Vinyl Guy, is a big Elvis fan. I'm not the biggest Elvis fan. I don't mind a bit of Elvis. Grew up on it as a kid. In fact, if you look at my intro video, the first ever vinyl album I owned when I was about probably 6, 7, or 8 years old was "I Got Lucky" by Elvis, and I picked that up at the local supermarket of all places. But George is also into a bit of rock and metal as well, which is where our paths have crossed and how I got to subscribe to his channel. I'm a very new subscriber to his channel, so I've not seen a lot of his videos, but I'm slowly going back and checking out what he's been posting and what he's all about. But George gave us 3 questions. Question 1 was to show a band or artist turned on to you by another member of the VC. And I think I've got quite an interesting story on this one because it's not just a single recommendation, but there's a bit of a chain that's gone on here. Now, the album that I'm going to talk about is Stereo Nasty, Nasty by Nature. This is an Irish band. This is their debut album that came out in 2015 on Stormspell Music. I picked it up off their Bandcamp site on the recommendation of Rene. So Rene is his channel's called Holspa Metal, and he's from Spanish Spain. And he showed this in one of his videos some time ago, and I checked them out at Bandcamp, and I thought, wow, this is a great band. He also mentioned that he'd asked, because on Bandcamp you can send a message to the band or the distributor when you're ordering, and he mentioned that he'd got them to sign. So I thought I'd do the same as well, and lo and behold, I got a signed copy of the CD by the band. This is a great album. I listened to it a lot, and I always thought it was worthy of a vinyl release. So as I say, Rene turned me on to these. Loved it. I showed it in one of my videos, and this is, to me, is one of the best things about the VC. Chris from the Vinyl Transmission channel. He'd watched my video and he'd also picked up a copy, and he did like a what's spinning video in his truck, and he showed this, and he gave me credit for turning him onto the band. And then he sometime later sent me a message and told me that it had been released on vinyl. So I went ahead and picked up a copy on vinyl as well, and this was actually released just this year. I've shown this in a recent video as well. I'll stick a link up if you want to hear what I said about it. This is a blue vinyl. I think there's about 300 copies of it on blue vinyl. I'm not going to get it out just for now, but this is kind of, I guess, in the new wave of traditional heavy metal bracket, if you're into that kind of, into the revival of sort of true heavy metal, which is excellent. And on the email that Chris had shown, his what's spinning, when he had shown this, and he'd given me credit, I gave credit back to Rene, as I felt it was right to do. And Rene actually responded and said that another VC member had also turned him onto it. So that's kind of, with three levels deep, 4 levels deep, in fact, of people spreading the word about music and letting other members of the VC know what they like, and other people picking it up and doing it. And that to me is that's the power behind the VC. That's the VC in action, and I love it, and that's why I'm hooked on this community. So there we go. That's the first question. Great question. Second question was your best blind buy. Um, Blind buys are something I still do a lot, actually. I mean, I collect a lot of 80s hard rock and heavy metal. And since I've started collecting vinyl again, I've realised how little I know about that whole period and how many bands that I missed. And there's just so much out there. And occasionally you can still get some good bargains to be found in record shops when out digging or on Discog. So there's been many a time when I've seen an album for maybe £2 or £3, and I just took a punt on it and either really enjoyed it or not. And that's the gamble you take with a blind buy. But I would say the absolute best number one blind buy that I've ever done would be Suicidal Tendencies self-titled album, originally from 1983. This is a 1987 repress, and I was about 16 at the time, I think. I was visiting my sister that was at university in Bath in England. Went out to a local record shop and I found this, and I knew nothing about this band, but I just saw this cover with all these shirts and t-shirts with all the writing on. It's not that I was even into skateboarding. I certainly wasn't into hardcore or punk that much, and I didn't know this was like kind of like a hardcore punk stroke. A bit of they did move more into sort of metal, thrashy metal later on, but this was definitely more of a hardcore punk album. But again, it's just the cover. But I took it home, and as soon as the needle hit the record, I was hooked, and it's been one of my favourite albums ever since. It's one of those albums where if I've had a really bad day, I put this on, and I kind of feel good after it, because it just kind of gets all that angst and everything out of the way, and you just go on with the rest of the day. But yeah, favourite blind buy. Blind buy. Suicidal Tendencies self-titled album. Question 3. This was a little bit harder for me to answer. So this was music that you can fall asleep to, and music that you wake up to. I don't tend to really listen to music to do either these days. But I did used to do a lot of travel, a lot of plane travel a few years back with my job, and then I moved jobs and I hadn't relocated. And I used to do a lot of flying, at least one or two flights a week. And some of those flights were really early morning, so I just wanted to grab even an hour, half an hour kip before I got to the destination. I had to either start work or get home to my family. So one band that I could quite easily fall asleep to, and not because they're boring and not because they're particularly quiet or melodic, is Iron Maiden, specifically Killers or Live After Death. Mainly because these albums, I know them so well. I know them inside out. I could probably sing them in my sleep. And I would just put these on. Obviously not the records on the plane, because they, baggage allowance and all that. They wouldn't let me take the record player. But on a Walkman, on MP3 player, I would put on Killers by Iron Maiden, and guaranteed by about 2 or 3 songs into it, I just feel really chilled out, and I could quite happily fall asleep and get a short 40 winks on a fairly short flight, and feel a little bit more refreshed by the time I got to my destination. And Live After Death is another album I just know inside out, even down to the audience participation bits. I can quite happily sing along to those, mouth along to those in the as I'm listening to it. So that's another album where I can just put on and I can chill out. I can completely zone out of everything around me, and quite happily drift off to sleep. And as for waking up, well, I don't actually wake up to any music I like. In fact, my wife and I get up around a similar time, or our alarm goes off around a similar time, and she has her alarm clock radio set to the local commercial radio, pop radio station, and there's nothing that gets me out of bed quicker than listening to pop music just to get out and and not have to listen to it anymore. So I actually use music I don't like in a way to get me out of bed in the morning. Otherwise, I'd just lay there listening to it and probably be late for work. But on the way to work, I have a 30-minute walk. I walk down it's kind of a beautiful cycle path. There's no roads, there's no traffic. I say it's about a 30-minute walk. So I tend to listen to newer music, newer bands that I've discovered on my phone, MP3s, and whatever takes my mood, whether it's something hard and fast or something heavy or rock, but maybe a bit more traditional. Whatever takes my fancy. That's my time in the morning before I go to work, getting my head right, and I really enjoy that. Yeah, so there's the 3 questions. Check out the Elvis VinylGuy's channel. If I haven't already, there will be a link up around now. And thanks for doing the competition. Congratulations on your 100 subs. And I will be back again, probably towards the end of the week with one of my normal videos. But hope you've enjoyed this, and I will catch you all later. Cheers. Bye.